What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new album from Maxo Kream called Brandon Banks. Now, Maxo Kream is a rapper who's coming out of Houston, Texas, and last year he made my year-end list with his album Pumpkin. I just thought he showed a lot of skill on that one. He came through with a wide variety of tracks, from storytelling shit to street narrative, as well as just some heavy, grimy-ass bangers. So I like that he's one of these artists who's able to do a lot of different sounds and do them very well. As far as newer rappers go, this is a guy that's very high up on my list, man. I like a lot of stuff that Maxo Kream has done. So, needless to say, once I heard that this project was coming out, I was excited to check it out and give you guys a review. And I can honestly say that this is about the same as Pumpkin to me when it comes to my level of enjoyment. I really did like this project a lot, and part of what makes it so cool is how there is a little bit of a concept throughout. The album's title, Brandon Banks, is actually the alias that his father used to use when he was out there scamming, and you will pick up a lot on this dynamic relationship between him and his father as you listen through this album. They certainly had a lot of ups and downs, and he even gets into some of the criminal activity that his father was involved in and how that did kind of tear his family apart. Like on the song Meet Again, where he speaks on how his parents got locked up because of a snitching aunt, as he spits, "My pop's back in the system, he just might die in prison. My mom is co-defendant, so she got locked up with him. He got snitched on by his own sister, she the eyewitness." That is some pretty heavy shit, and if you're familiar with Maxo Kream, especially his last album Pumpkin, that is when he is at his best in my opinion, when he's giving us these open stories about his family. Seems like they've all gone through a lot of things together, and I always do appreciate when an artist isn't afraid to delve into such grimy shit like this, man, because a lot of people would probably sweep this under the rug rather than speak on it or even put it into their art, but I think it's great that he does that and shows that he has a unique story to tell. Then on Bissonet, we get this great beat with strings and heavy 808s. That was one of my favorite tracks sonically, and he continues to rap about some of these things going on with his father as he raps. "I have my pops inside my life, but right now that shit don't matter. He been locked up most of my life, so I feel just like a bastard." And if we want to talk about bastards, he's got a song on here called Ashford Bastard, where he goes deeper into how he feels that way. As he spits, "He been locked up most of my life, so that shit doesn't matter. I had some questions from my pops, but the streets gave me the answer. The Blocc became my pops, and I'm a Ashford bastard." As I said, they have had a lot of ups and downs, but on that same song, he makes it very clear that he still loves his father for being there when he was. He taught him a lot of things, even though they did have some pretty bad moments, including he mentions that his father actually beat on his mom. As he got older, he beat his dad's ass. I just think it's very fascinating that he's open and honest about these types of things and putting it out there, man. It really makes you understand him more as an artist, especially when he does get into some of that grimy shit and how he fell victim to the streets. So yeah, man, I think that's pretty dope that he was able to explore this dynamic of this guy who did have a father in his life sometimes, and yet he was also getting a lot of lessons and answers from the streets when he was out there running around like that. Naturally, you are going to get some content about Maxo's criminal activity on songs like Spice Lane, where his mom kicked him out and he started staying at the Plug's house, and also on Pray to the Dope, where he was slanging bagels and perks out of Panera Bread. So he does kind of tell you this tale of how all these things that were going on around him and at home pushed him outwards into the streets, where he started doing some of these negative things as well. I think it's really great when rappers can rap about this stuff in that type of way, where it doesn't really seem like they're just glorifying it so much. There's some rappers that rap about the street shit and it sounds like they're fake or just saying stuff that they think sounds cool, but then you get guys like this who really know how to break it down and give you the details. They explain how these things can happen and how people get involved. But another thing I like about this project is how Maxo was able to look outside of himself and his family to speak on some of the other things that are going on out there. Like on the song Change, where we get this wavy guitar-led beat and he's working these very catchy sing-songy flows. This is a song where he's speaking on how money can change people. It can split friends and family apart. And on 8 Figures, he does detail more about what money can do to people, including how people can make all this money and just fuck it up quick because they're spending it too fast, they're not keeping track of what they're doing. These ideas we have heard about before in hip-hop when it comes to money, but I do like the sounds of these tracks. They're both kind of wavy, more laid-back bangers, I would say. They got a lot of bass on them, but they're not like super heavy, especially compared to some of the other tracks that I will speak on in a bit. I just really like those tracks, and I feel like if you just skim this project, you're not going to appreciate some of the stuff that Maxo's saying. He really does have a good way with words. I think he's pretty lyrical. A lot of people might disagree with that depending on how you feel about him as an artist, but based on the stuff that I've heard, he's great at storytelling. He really does know how to give you that street narrative in a very raw and honest way. And even on the song Brenda, he's giving you this storytelling track about this downtrodden mother who's trying to raise a son on her own. course, as the title suggests, this is a little bit of a throwback to Tupac's song Brenda's Got a Baby. There's even a line on here speaking on how this Brenda girl's mother named her Brenda because she looked like Tupac, which must have been a pretty interesting looking girl, man, especially if she had the goatee going on, maybe had the nose ring and a bald head and a bandana on, but you know, you get what I'm saying. I guess she kind of looked like Tupac maybe in the face area, but whatever it is, I thought that was still a pretty cool song. Not a personal favorite, but it did show his ability to tell a story and connect with people, so that was cool. But of course, you are going to get some more simplified bangers on here as well, and just like with any album that has a handful of bangers, I feel like people will only come out of it liking a couple of those bangers, you know? I feel like I just said bangers a million times, but anyway, we get the song She Live. This is just a very standard sex-driven banger featuring Meg Thee Stallion. I didn't care for this one, but I know it's going to be a hit. I think it's already doing quite well, and I would understand people liking it, but it's just not my type of track. And then on the relays, we get a pretty common banger featuring Travis Scott, and I thought this was one of Travis Scott's weakest performances. I didn't think his verse was that great, and then on the hook, like, he's doing these really breathy ad-libs. I forget what they're like, but they're kind of like, heh, 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 heh. You know, that's probably not quite that bad, but goddamn it, if you heard the song, you know what I mean. I didn't like his ad-libs on that hook at all. So, you know, these were two of my least favorite tracks, but there were some bangers on here that I did like much more, like 3 AM with Schoolboy Q. This one sounds like a drive-by theme. It has these spooky horror movie keys on it and gang and gun content. And then with Murda Blocc, we're getting a similar murderous vibe where ASAP Ferg is bringing his usual wild and crazy energy. I actually like that one quite a bit. That beat is just hitting really hard. I like Fergie's style because he's not afraid to just fuck around and jump on a track like a goddamn wild man. Shout out to Mark Miro. But I would say probably my favorite track, at least when it comes to the ignorant ass bangers, has got to be Drizzy Draco, man. This beat here, man oh man, this beat is filthier than a Holly Hendrix scene, and the shit he's spitting on here is so hard. He's rapping about how he has guns like Halo and Call of Duty, a ski mask like Mick Foley. He says that he's not a rapper, he's a gravedigger. He's just sending out warnings all over this track. But there was one line on here that just, you know, sometimes a good album or a good song just has a line on it that is kind of cringy, and this was the one for me where he says, finesse him out as bricks and I ain't got no calculator, and my Nina got a dick, I jack it off and masturbate her. That shit to me just sounded a little bit weird, man, a little bit weird with that line, but the song still goes hard as hell, so, you know, I'm not going to take out too much from that. I'm not going to hate on the whole song, it's still one of my favorites, but that line, like, that's the type of line where if you're at a red light and you have that shit cranked up all the way and your window's down and the other person's window's down, they're going to look over at you like, might be on, you know, might have lanes on either side of you, and people are like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like jerking some type of dick or something? Man, this guy's crazy. But anyway, shit still goes hard. And there's also a reference on this song to Future's track Itchin'. One of my favorite Future songs, by the way. That's, you know, that came out quite a while ago. I'm not a huge Future fan, but I did like that song, so it was cool that he was referencing that. And you know what? Overall, this to me is about as strong as Punkin'. I think I said that at the start of this review. So I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 5 again, man. Very polished project. I like the mix of vivid, honest storytelling, gritty bangers, street narrative. There's some really nice features on here that fit in as well. Maxo is just really showing that he can spit and tell a story, and that's something that I appreciate. I like when artists are able to give you those bangers, you know, take care of the people that just want some trunk slappers, but also show me that you can spit and say some interesting stuff, man. I really like that, as well as his unique style. That bouncy, sort of catchy way that he raps is great to me. So that's how I feel about this project. You guys check it out for yourself and then hit me up in the comment section with your thoughts. And of course, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.